can hear them. Hey!
Welcome in the latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And that is, of course, Cuzzy Shane, the big Tennessee homer, who goes by Big Orange Vols on the Twitter machine. What's up, you old Tennessee homer?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Oh, man, just waiting for this damn thing to start for about 3 minutes here.
Seriously, I had a lot of cool poses, but then I just gave up, Mike. I'm telling you, it's like watching water boil. So we weren't actually late. We cranked this thing up. It just took a little while to get going, but it's good to see you again.
Yeah, well, Shane, got to start with at the top like we always do. Brought to you by MyBookie. Head on over to mybookie.ag, the online sports book, and don't forget that promo code, that SEC. That's THAT. SEC, they'll hook you up, brother, for all these crazy deposits up there right now over at MyBookie. Back second season in a row. You really want to help the podcast grow? Head on over to mybookie.ag today and put in that promo code, that SEC. They'll match your initial deposit or a 50% bonus up to $1,000 over at MyBookie. You can't beat it. You know what?
You can't. Up to $1,000. That's $500 free if you jump on there and use promo code, that SEC. And again, like Mike said, it helps the pod tremendously. So thank you. Let's make some money this year, Mike. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about our teams. I'm feeling good about making some cash this season.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, appreciate you, cousin Kyle. He said he saw me on Texags this morning. I'll be on Texags every week this season, Shane. I can't believe they're
what?
You know, I can't believe people like that.
Huh?
Can't believe people like that reach out to us and make the mistake of having us on. You know what?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I can see why we've got this Texas A&M love. Now it's all coming full circle. Been a little too close to Billy Lucci there.
Well, hey, brother, we got a lot to hit on here, but I just thought this would be a fun way to start. Because I don't know if you're a fan of this account, Shane, but I know I certainly am. Message Board Geniuses.
Yeah, good stuff.
And they found this Florida State fan. Just went damn irate, Shane. I'm going to throw up here this image they found off the website War Chant. But basically, we don't have to read this whole thing. But basically, the fan says, I demand a refund. All you people telling me, and he's talking about the people that work for old War Chant, this company should immediately refund us due to their inability to be honest and tell the fans how shitty their team really is. So he was mad, of course, after losing to Georgia Tech there. So I wanted to throw that your way, Shane. Which SEC fan base is most likely to send a message like this come Sunday to their favorite site, to their favorite podcast, to whoever, that they're just damn irate that their team, that they were getting fed smoke essentially the last 6 months or so? Who is the top of your list? Who's going to be the most irate come Saturday night, Sunday morning?
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Tex Ag Radio. So you can answer all those Texas Aggie fans and say, hey, man, we've got a rebuild going on here at College Station, and don't pump the brakes. We're not going to win 8-9 games like you thought we would. So I think that's the one that that's close to the surface. The next, I'll give you two. The second one would be the Florida Gators. So those are the two that I'm looking at.
Man. Won't you take any more good ones here, Shane? So, I mean, Texas A&M, Notre. So you think, but Notre Dame is top 10. So, I mean, could the fans really be? I don't know if that's a good one or not, Shane, because Florida State was a 14-point favorite. I mean, A&M, Notre Dame, that's like a toss-up type game. Now, if they lose by like 30 points, I see what you're saying. But if it's a tight loss, I don't think fans are going to be irate at old Billy Lucci and company at Texags for blowing smoke, do you?
Well, Vegas has got them, 6.5 conference wins? I mean, that's the standard you created. 7 SEC wins, right?
No. I think it was like 5.5.
It feels like 7, though. It feels like 7, and that's where they want to be. And then you look at the non-conference games. You're looking at potentially, let's say Notre Dame. They're looking at 10 wins. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't think that there's Texas Aggie fans that think 10 wins is a far stretch. I feel like they feel like that's in reach. And I just looking at this schedule, brother. I'm not seeing it. I'm not buying the Elko hype just yet. And I get it. Aggie fans are excited. Cousin Shane is officially out. I'm telling you, brother, we just did my bookie. You know, my bookie kept a lot of my money because I put it on the Texas Ags last year. So until I recoup it, I'm out on them.
No, you missed it, Shane. You missed it bad. You missed the mark here. I'll tell you who it is. And we're going to be watching it with the cousins. It's LSU. Come on, brother. If they can't win a home opener, third in a row under Brian Kelly, all this smoke, you know, they're favorites to beat Southern Cal in Vegas. They're getting told the defense has been turned around. I mean, every damn LSU fan on here said, we're going to the playoff. Blake Baker's awesome. This defense is going to turn around. What happens if Southern Cal puts up 45 on them and we lose? I mean, I think they're going to be able to score at will too. So, you know, I'm not saying it'll be a blowout, but if it's like 45 to 38 and LSU loses, I think we're going to get some irate LSU fans wondering where in the hell's the defense? We used to pride ourselves on defense, and here we are losing a damn T-bow over here.
No, there's a reason, T-bow. Well, there's a reason I didn't mention LSU, Mike. You know, for starters, you said Sunday morning. That is a Sunday night game. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not worried about the LSU Tigers. This feels like, remember the who was? I think it was Alabama a few years back, and they were coming out and they were looking like they were dogs. You know, remember they were doing all that hop stuff, and then Alabama came out and put like 40 points on them in the first half or something crazy. Like, it feels like that game. We're gonna pretend that USC is close, that USC has got an opportunity to knock off LSU. But I don't know, man. I've been hearing a lot of Coach Kelly, and the one thing I keep hearing a lot of is national championship. That's the expectations they have down there. So to get there, you don't worry about shit teams like USC. So I can't wait to catch the ball game with the rest of you. That's a good segue there. Sunday, right after our show, we're going to stay on live, and we're going to watch the football game together. Drink some cold beers and have fun.
Hey, man, what a cousin here, JR. He keeps buying memberships.
Hey, thank you, JR.
For people. He bought Brandon Williams a membership. So, JR, we appreciate you. We appreciate you, Brandon, for wanting to be a member of this podcast. And big money here says MIZFKU.
That's a small K there, right?
Yeah. But hey, let's not be so negative, Shay. Let's flip it the other way.
Yes.
What's a fan base that come Sundays, Saturday, whatever you want to say it, Saturday night, Sunday morning, could be over the moon and have too big of a reaction saying, God, boys, we're going to college football playoff when maybe they don't have those aspirations today, or at least they probably do, but it's just how realistic is it that we'll overreact the following game? Does that make sense?
Well, it's hard not to see it here in East Tennessee already boiling. You know, I know it's just Chattanooga, but when you hang 50 points with your quarterback, that's the first reaction you're going to hear is Tennessee's back. Tennessee's winning an SEC championship, winning a natty. So I feel like an overreaction is due here in Knoxville come August 31st.
Yeah, that could be one, Shane.
I do have another one. I do have two. I'm doing two for everyone, man. Why can't I do it? It's mine.
Okay, who's your second one?
South Carolina.
Okay.
I know they don't want to buy in. I feel it online when I'm watching these I call them cousins, family members, you know, they're just, you know, they like, they see a hype reel, they see Sellers do something, they hear something about Rocket, but they just don't want to get hurt. And I feel like after Old Dominion, you're going to be watching that football game, and you're going to be like, damn, we may have a squad here. Now, it may be fool's gold because it is Old Dominion, but I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a coming out party with South Carolina opening season here.
How about this one? Now, this is a Friday game, Shane, but I'm going to Oklahoma. If they crush Temple, which I think they're like a 50-point favorite, so they're going to crush them. You know what I mean? But give me Oklahoma. And again, I think those fans expect playoffs, so maybe not the perfect candidate here, but just, you know, there's been questions about the offensive line. There's questions about their quarterback, not necessarily within that fan base, but around the country. Like, say Jackson Arnold comes out here and throws 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think they're going to be over the moon that Oklahoma's going to make themselves a big run in the SEC.
or defense gives up 0 points. There's
right.
The steel curtain, baby,
Hey, shout out to Jimbo Pate. I hope that's Jimbo Fisher there. He just became a member of the channel.
Thanks, cuz.
Yeah, thank you so much. But, okay, I just thought that would be fun, Shane. But
yeah.
Speaking of Oklahoma, I did want to parlay that into this, Shane. I didn't pick them just for this reason. But if you needed any more reason to know that Oklahoma is SEC ready, they just got busted by the NCAA for recruiting violations.
Welcome to the club.
Now, to be clear, they turned themselves in.
Yeah.
But their running backs coach, former outstanding running back himself in the NFL and at Oklahoma, DeMarco Murray, contacted players when he wasn't supposed to. Just an honest mistake.
Yeah.
17 recruits over 16 months, 65 impermissible phone calls, and 36 impermissible text messages. What's that going to cost Oklahoma? Nothing really. But 1 year probation. Murray's got to sit out this Temple. They're not going to have their running back coach for the Temple game, Shane. I don't know if Oklahoma can survive it. But, again, I kid. But that tells me they're SEC ready.
They're ready. They're back. And I always have a soft place in my heart for DeMarco Murray. That first year, he kind of took off. I got him in Fantasy Football League and helped win my championship. So, if I could sit out a game for him, I would do it, brother. So I'm glad. Like I said, this is what you're going to need. Are you going to get in trouble? Of course, sometimes you're going to get in trouble, but you got to stay on the cutting edge. That's where you got to be. It's a fine line. And if you're willing to do what it takes, you're always going to stay at the top with recruiting, and you're always going to stay in the top of the SEC. So, yeah, one game, whatever.
Hey, shout out Cousin Rusty.
Hey, thanks, cuz.
He was one of the first to become a member, Shane, so I sent him a free T-shirt. He said, got my shirt in the mail today. Thanks, cousin. So we appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Cousin Rusty. And we also had one more, Shane, jump into the boat. Cousin David, just became a member to the channel, so we appreciate you, Cousin David.
Cool name, Dave.
But, that's not all I got on Oklahoma, Shane. I in case you missed it, true freshman, defensive tackle Jaden Jackson listed as a starter for Oklahoma's defense, which I think is going to be one of the better defenses in the SEC. That should give you an indication of just how good this Jaden Jackson possibly could be, Shane. He's the only true freshman listed as a starter on Oklahoma's roster. He's the first true freshman on a defensive line, at defensive tackle, since Tommy Harris, the former All-American, former NFL great, in 2001. So it's been that long since Oklahoma's had a defensive tackle as a true freshman start day one. But that's pretty impressive, don't you think? Because, they always say it's much more difficult to make an impact in college football the closer you are to the ball. It's always easier at receiver, corner, and things like
Absolutely.
that. But interior line, this guy must be a damn player.
It must be. Like you said, line of scrimmage, when you're talking defensive line, interior offensive linemen, tackles, things like that, those guys typically do not hit the field year one. Sometimes year two. It's like they've got to grow into that position. So the fact this is a true freshman coming out here, part of you is like, well, are they that thin? But then part of you is like, well, damn, he may be a beast. And imagine what a couple of good seasons behind him is going to look like here in 3 years.
Right. So here we got Brent Venables, Shane. Thank God the season's here. Brent Venables is doing press conferences now.
We found him.
Yeah. He's talking about what a beast this Jaden Jackson is.
He's got a great deal of maturity. Again, mature beyond his years. Very focused, driven, ambitious. Shows up, puts the work in every single day. He's a model of consistency with his habits, his mindset, great mental and physical toughness. He brought with him a skill set that was very refined from a block recognition, his pad level, his footwork. So there's a lot to build from. And then again, a willingness to put the work in. He's got great humility, respect for what it takes to be successful. He shows up and makes everybody around him better. He's a really good teammate, incredibly coachable. Coach's dream, but for where he is as a freshman, mentally, in his capacity to show up the same every day, have great self-awareness. When he had a bad play, a bad series, or just a bad day, he didn't allow it to affect him, the following day or the following play, the following series, so forth. So that's just that's abnormal, and he's got a great future in front of him if he keeps his head down and continues to be who he's been, which I don't see any reason to believe why he wouldn't.
And then one more true freshman, again, not starting, but the backup quarterback, Shane, Michael Hawkins, a guy that a lot of buzz out of Norman following spring. They were saying he was almost as impressive as Jackson Arnold. And I think, probably a lot of that had to do with the offensive line still being a work in progress. Michael Hawkins is more of I'm not saying he's not a passer. Clearly he is if he's true freshman backup quarterback, but he is an elite runner. So I wonder if it's, I'm not saying quarterback competition, but I wonder if there's situations like probably this Temple game. I would imagine we're going to see a lot of Michael Hawkins in the second half showcasing his talent.
Yeah, well, I hope so. And it's not that I hope we ever see a backup quarterback, but you need to be prepared for it, because if you need one, that's what you always worry about is you've got this idea of how good Oklahoma could be. Well, that's as long as Jackson stays healthy. But if he does get banged up and he's out a game or two, what does it look like behind him? So I like that there's a little praise coming from that quarterback room, because it makes me feel a little bit more confident that if needed, we won't suck is basically what I'm saying. So that's, yeah. And I hope they see it. I hope to see him out there. A couple packages, something like that. You got to get your best 11 out there. And if he is one of your top 11 athletes, you got to find ways to get him out there on the field.
How about this comment from Cousin Brian, Shane? He says, James Pierce and Joshua Josephs are going to strip Arnold naked in Norman. Oh, boy. That's not my words there, but that was a good one.
You do need a couple quarterbacks, Tennessee coming into town.
Hey, we got another one. Arlen Wright just became a member
thanks,
to the channel. Appreciate you, Cousin Arlen. That really helps the show grow. But, hey, one other thing for Oklahoma, Shane. I just thought you'd love this. So I didn't realize, what a big deal. I knew a little bit of it, but I didn't realize till I went to Norman what a big deal Toby Keith is down there.
Oh,
May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Big Sooner fan, and Oklahoma announced today that at the end of every third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, kind of like Tom Petty there in Florida, they're going to be playing a Toby Keith song in the stadium to fire up the crowd. I just think I just love, stuff like this is what makes college football so special.
Diehard Oklahoma fan, and was always my go-to at a karaoke bar. Like, when in doubt, I love this bar was always like my short list for karaoke songs. So we didn't get to do it there on media days. Maybe next media days we'll go out and sing, and I could do a little Toby Keith for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Hey, shout out.
No one will show up.
Shout out Cousin Jared. He just gave us $5, Shane. 41-35 LSU. Let's go. Cover and over.
Come on, man.
I'd love to see it.
Still no confidence in that defense.
Yeah, well said, Shane. Well, you know who we do got confidence in, brother, and that is old Hello Fresh. Again, proud to be partnered with the show once again. Head on over to HelloFresh right now, Shane. This unbelievable deal. I don't think you believe me when I told it to you. But if you go to HelloFresh right now and put in that promo code FREESEC, that's FREESEC, Shane, they're going to give anybody that signs up and uses FREESEC as a promo code free breakfast for life, man. As long as you have your subscription over at HelloFresh, they're going to give you one free breakfast item for the entire term that you're with HelloFresh. Shane, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, I'm told, and HelloFresh is trying to give it to these fine folks for free.
Just had it, and you're saying, wait, it's 6, 7 o'clock, No, I eat breakfast all the time, clearly. So, yeah, absolutely. HelloFresh is awesome, and it doesn't have to be 5 meals. It could be a couple meals each week. Just try the box out. It's pretty fun. That's what I like about it is the whole family can get in there, and when you get done, as long as you follow the little notes they gave you, I swear, it's like you ordered it at a 5-star restaurant. It's pretty cool stuff. So be sure to check it out there at HelloFresh. What's that promo code again, Mike?
It's free SEC over at HelloFresh for one free breakfast item for the length of your subscription. Can't beat it, Shane.
Hey,
Can't
and
beat
if
it.
you do get it and you're cooking something, take a picture and send it to me. You know, just I want to compare my dishes with yours.
Sugar Shane says Cracker Barrel's pissed right now.
Yeah. You know, I am too, Cracker Barrel. That's on you.
Hey, Shane, speaking of someone that could be pissed here on Saturday night, let's kick it over. Billy Napier talking about this Miami. You got to remember, Shane, this is quite the rivalry here.
Yeah.
I just got off the line with our buddy Nick Knudsen over there at Read and Reaction. I'm going to post that video as soon as it's edited here. But, God, these Florida fans, Shane, they hate Miami. Billy Napier made sure to let his team know about it.
Nothing to talk publicly about. No, I mean, I think ultimately for me, you know, we understand. I think that's one of the things about this group of players is that I think they've got pretty good awareness. You know, I think they've got some experience and they understand the magnitude of the game, not only just for the season as a whole, but also it being an in-state opponent. And look, our opponent this week is highly regarded. They're ranked in both polls. They've got several All-American, All-Conference players. So I think ultimately they're picked to make the playoff. They're picked to win their conference, right? So I don't think we're lacking in regards to respect for the opponent.
Shay, will Florida have respect for old Miami this weekend?
They better not. Man, yeah, I don't want to hear this. I don't care what they got them in there. It almost sounds like you're teeing up excuses on why the game was close or why you lost or something like that. I don't want to hear none of that.
Yeah.
The Florida Gators dominate Miami. This ain't what, the 80s, the 90s, no more. This is Florida Gators. You are the best team or supposed to be the best team in that state, and I don't want to hear how close this game's going to be.
Right. Well, I do have the Winsipedia up here, Shane. I mean, Miami is, 5-2 the last 7. But, of course, the last meeting was 2019, and Florida did win that matchup. So I just think it's great that we get a rivalry-type game like this. But I don't see it, man. Even the people that hate Florida and think they're going to suck like you, I just can't envision a scenario where this Miami team full of renegades, full of free agents with an idiot for a coach, that they're going to walk into the swamp and have themselves a good day. I mean, they could be the best team in the ACC. I think they could struggle mightily with this crowd with, it's going to be hot, it's humid.
Yeah.
Of course, they're used to that, but they're not used to playing in front of fans because they don't have fans down there in Miami. You know what?
Exactly right, man. And I think you hit the nail on the head. This is a team effort. And by team, I mean everybody, players, fans. They got to show up. They got to show out. They got to make the swamp. You know, I always think about those video games where they got that little meter up there in the corner talking about,
Right.
the swamp used to be one of those top 5 places, and it can be again. It just takes some wins under your belt. But I don't want to hear how good Miami. I don't like this. I don't like this petting of other universities. You know, it feels like there's buzzards just circling around. There's a carcass over there, and it better not be Billy Napier. You know what I'm saying? I want to come out here. I want to punch that team in the mouth, and I want them to try to figure out which other team is going to win that conference, because clearly it's not Miami.
Well, let me ask you this, though, because we're in this area of NIL and transfer portal and all these things, and the rosters are switching over so much. Do games like this, do you think it'll feel like a rivalry come Saturday? Because again, they played in 2019, but I would envision, obviously that was 5 seasons ago, so no one on the team, either team, was a part of that game. I wonder if they're even, I don't know. This ain't a blood feud.
Right.
Like Florida State, they play every year.
Yeah.
Do you think this game will be lacking any emotion, intensity, rivalry type stuff?
Maybe a little bit, but again, being so close, there's a lot of kids that went to Miami that had offers at Florida. A lot of these kids played together in high school, so there may be just a little natural, rivalry built into this thing. But again, it's the emotion of the fan base, and that's what I think is really going to help the Florida Gators here is if they have that crowd noise and you just feel it, that tension that a rivalry brings. So they're going to be talking about it all week, and I know Billy's been talking about it, but it's not. That's this kind of where Florida's at. I think they're us against the world top mentality right now, and Miami's just the first notch on the belt.
Right. Well, I can guarantee you, Shane, even if the players are not aware of the rivalry, and Billy says they are, but who knows, the fans are. Yeah. And I expect several shenanigans, probably there's going to be some leaked videos, of some unruly behavior. That's just a prediction, but I would be stunned if we don't get some of that come Saturday. You know what?
Yeah, we better, man. You got to make it. Got to make it important. But you want to keep your cool because you got to, you got some new places, new faces, new places. But you got to come out and you got to want it more than other games. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, shout out Cousin Rick. He just became a member of the channel.
Thanks, Cuz.
Thank you so much, Cousin Rick. Welcome to the family. How about this one, Shane? You're going to love this. Cousin Heath. Does Cousin Shane have a sponsorship with Nautica? We got to get on that. You know what?
Yeah, man. And they're just like, he's repping the brand, man. Yeah. Big and tall. Nautica's got it locked down, man.
Well, hey, Shane, please no phone calls there with old Dabo. Speaking of Dabo, have you seen this drama here? Here's the depth chart for Clemson, Georgia, officially released by both sides here. I'm going to throw it up here on the screen. There's not a single damn player listed for Clemson or Georgia. I mean, these coaches, they'll say nice things about each other, but they're not fans of one another. I don't care what they say. Mm-hmm. And they've had many battles, and they've got a contract to have several more games. But this is the pettiness I love to see week one of college football, don't you?
I do. And I felt it with Kirby earlier, talking like, when I can't remember what it was about the recruiting, and he's like, yeah, I don't see him on the trail as much as I used to,
Now, he came out this week and said, oh, we see him all the time. Like, he had to correct that,
Yeah, but I liked the little stab he took last week. So, absolutely. Neither one of these teams hate each other. They do kind of recruit the same areas. So, there's just a natural hatred toward it. But it's also Dabo, and hence, please no phone calls. Dabo came out this week and said, no more phone calls during my what do they call it? The coach calls, that these teams have and stuff like that.
Old Tyler from Spartanburg just ruined it for all Clemson fans. You know what?
Ruined it, man. Just ruined it. They expected more from him. So, no.
But that's when things are going off the rails, though,
yeah.
Shane. When these we love all the fans, clearly.
Yeah.
They're family with us. But when these coaches get so bothered by a call, by a tweet, by this, by that, and they start changing their protocol, that's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Because if, let's say, Clemson gets their ass whooped on Saturday, which they probably will, old Tyler's calling again. All these Clemson fans are it's just going to heat up. Yeah. And now they know it's driving Dabo crazy. I mean, it's I can't believe I have to tell these coaches these things, but you're playing right into their hands.
Yeah, no, I love it. When you start removing some of the fan interaction, that's one step closer to the door, Mike. And I feel like that's where Dabo's at, and it all gets amplified if Georgia just comes out here and puts on an ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so excited about this football game, Mike. I feel like this is going to be everybody's happy. Everybody's happy when Clemson's losing.
Right. Well, could be an old school type game though, Shane, because Clemson's the strength of their team is the defensive front seven.
Yeah.
Georgia's got a really good offensive line, and the way Kirby tells it, which I always forget this, Shane, they got Matt Luke, former Ole Miss coach, former Georgia offensive line. He's hired now at Clemson to fix the Clemson offensive line. Let's kick it over to Kirby, who says, man, you better watch out. They got a veteran offensive line coached by one of the best in the country over there.
Toughness. He's got an extremely experienced offensive line. I want to say it's almost 100 starts. 3 of the 5 guys have over 25 or something. It's crazy. Very rare in college football to have a person with more than 25 starts, because that means they stayed for at least, they're coming into their third season starting, and they've got a tremendous offensive line in terms of the amount of experience they have starting. I would have thought ours was one of the most experienced offensive lines in the country. Well, theirs has got more starts than ours. So I know Matt will do a tremendous job. They'll play with toughness, effort. I'm sure he'll add some wrinkles to their offense, but he's a really good football coach.
So when I hear this, Shane, I'm even more fired up for it because I love line play, and I think that's going to be the highlight of this game for me personally.
Well, I mean, that Georgia's been facing the best defense. I mean, those guys, they're ready. They're battle tested, and they're ready to play Clemson. You know, you're talking about a team that usually doesn't have a slow start. The Bulldogs don't because they're just constantly going against athletes that are going to be in the NFL. I mean, it is basically an NFL camp there. So I cannot wait to see this one. I know Dabo was probably like, man, is there some way we can get out of this thing? You know, he saw T-Boy. What is his name? What'd you call him? T-Bow?
T-Bow over there,
T-Bow.
Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, he saw that. He probably called him. How'd you get out of that thing? You know, so can't run from this one, man. You're about to get it from him, Georgia Bulldogs.
But we don't know, Shane. Trevor Etienne, will he, won't he play? Kirby won't say. He got a little bit of trouble in the offseason, nothing major, but status unknown, keeping that internal. I love that. So that's going to be fascinating to see. And unfortunately, one of their other running backs, Roderick Robinson, Shane, it was revealed he had surgery on turf toe. So how long he is out is unknown as well, but I mean, I can't imagine he's going to play this game. So Georgia could be thin at running back for this one.
Yeah, could be if they hold him out week one. You know, I mean, they may pull.
Do you think that's where the internal came in when Roger Robinson got hurt? So let's keep us internal just in case.
Yeah, they may Mark Rick this thing and say, "Hey, who we got week 2?" You know.
Yeah, I mean, just talking about this game, Shay's getting me fired up to bet on some football. So again, if you're going to bet on some football, head on over to MyBookie, online sportsbook, mybookie.ag today. Put in that promo code SEC. They're matching your initial deposit up to 50%, up to $1,000, 50% of your initial deposit, free $500. Shane, you can't beat it over at MyBookie with that promo code SEC. That's THAT. SEC.
What was that bet I saw the other day that you highlighted? It was the Georgia-Clemson game, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. As soon as Dabo said he wasn't taking those calls, O'Brien bet the house on Georgia.
Oh man, let's make some money, son.
Well, speaking of depth chart, Shay, I just thought this was damn hilarious. Let's hopefully this displays here. This is Auburn's depth chart for week 1, and keep in mind they're playing Alabama A&M. Mm-hmm. Never even heard of this damn school. So they got an offensive depth chart. It's fine. They have 37 starters on defense.
Wow.
And why that is? We got a good one here from old Hugh. Why you got 37 starters on defense?
Yeah, on the defensive depth chart, you've got 37 players listed as starters. I mean, essentially everybody. Are you smoke screening, or are you just going to really rotate a whole lot?
Honestly, it's not. Y'all know how I feel about depth charts from day one. I think they're ridiculous and they're not accurate. And I'm not trying to hide something from you, but honestly, I don't even know who we have. I haven't looked at it, but who do we have at left tackle? Honestly, it's going to be either Percy or Tyler or maybe D. Wade. I don't know. And then defensively, you want to talk about defensive tackles. We've got 6 that we're going to rotate in there, and I could care less who goes out there the first snap. I really don't. I don't care. And obviously neither does DJ if we got 37 starters. So, you better play a lot of guys, particularly early in the year, and it really, I know it doesn't, I'm laughing about it because I think, but, to some people it matters. To some kid it matters. To some mama it matters. And so we'll list them all as starters, the ones that we think have earned the right to roll out there and play, and I really do mean it. I have no clue who DJ and his staff and Von Trail are going to roll out in the defensive front to start the game. Well, are we in odd? Are we in even? I don't know. But if you're in even, I know J Mac's going to be out there, and I know Keldrick's going to be out there. Those other 6 in the middle, they all have been with the first team. They've all been the second team or the blue-orange team, as we refer to it, or the white team, and I don't see a ton of drop-off really. So it's not really a smokescreen. I don't know what the secondary looks like because that's where we're the thinnest for sure. But I would expect Keontae and Can Lee to get a nod at the corners, but we're going to need others to play too. We're still trying to figure out the safeties, though, truthfully.
All that to say, everything's locked down but the safeties. You know what?
Yeah. Play calling's got an oar too, don't it?
But I just love that because I don't get too excited about any of these damn depth charts. I don't.
No.
I get it. I mean, you don't even have to put them out according to Georgia and Clemson. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Tennessee's was similar. They had about 20 oars on theirs. But, I mean, they're meaningless. I frankly, I don't even look at them until I see like a true freshman starting or something.
It's like injury reports too, you know, and I get that they're going to start rolling those out there, but then it's like you still can list them as playing and then they not play. So I don't know. I don't worry about that, Mike. We're going to look out there. We're going to see the front 11 that are coming out on offense. We'll see 11 on defense, and there's your depth chart right there.
Right. Well, staying in that state, Shane, Kalen DeBoring. I'm excited to see his debut. I hope it's not boring, but I think you're going to get why I call this guy Kalen DeBoring here. What's his pregame ritual here?
I asked Nick as well, do you have any traditions that you do before a game, something you eat, something the fans will learn more about you?
There is not a lot. Pretty boring probably that way. Not a lot of things that I feel I have to. I mean, it's all about the schedule, you know, and the schedule, I guess, would probably be the thing I feel the most strong about, that you're eating within a certain time frame before the game, and you know what that morning walkthrough looks like and kind of roughly when that is. It changes if it's a morning game, afternoon game, evening game, but you know, I also want to hear what our players have done, and so there's a couple things, you know, on Friday that we'll tweak maybe from what I've done, and it's really, I've been okay with it at other places. It's just a matter of, you know, those teams didn't want to do some of those things. It might be when you do your chapel, you know, when you know, the other activities, do teams like go to movies and things like that on Friday. So a lot of those things, I think from team to team, it's always different.
This is our savior down here in Alabama.
Watching movies and shit. No, I mean, no. I was thinking about this superstitious, you know, and I always said I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. But is there like things that you do, like for instance, Mike, if Tennessee wins, you know, I'll wear the same outfit. Of course, I wear the same outfit a lot, but I wear the same outfit. Like, won't wash it, no nothing. You know, I wear it the following Saturday. You know, and
is it a Nautica shirt?
Yeah. How'd you know that? You sly bastard. Have you been in my closet?
No, I'm not too superstitious or anything like that. But I did like Nick Saban how he would do the Little Debbies in the morning. I mean, I think that's a better answer than the schedule is
or
my
listen to music, you know, like your favorite song when you're leaving or something like that. I mean, he's obviously it's going to take a little while. He's probably not got this much media attention his entire life, so it will take some growing up. But I think after a while, I do like how he has loosened up a little bit. He's not so tight as he used to be.
I just truly am concerned, Shane. If like if they don't make a playoff, or if they get waxed by Georgia, you know, I don't know how he's going to handle it. I really don't.
I don't know how he's going to handle it, but I'm more curious how the fans are going to handle it, in my opinion, Mike, because they're a very strong, very passionate fan base and you know, a little flighty. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there was times Nick Saban was begging the student section to stay there, you know. So what happens if they don't win all their games? Is it a fan base that kind of that implodes a little bit and just starts blaming and wanting a new coach and flight trackers and shit like that? So yeah, I am curious. There's going to be some growing pains, and I'm more interested in how the fans react more than I am DeBoer.
Right. Well, how about the only other? This was the highlight of what he had to say. Jalen Milroe, of course. How's he gonna? Remember when DeBoer got hired? I remember people were like, Jalen Milroe. Well, I guess he's going to transfer because he don't fit. He's not Michael Penix. Yeah, I mean that was just asinine.
Yeah.
Now he's a Heisman candidate. But here's Kalen DeBoring, as I call him, on Jalen Milroe's progress here.
Charlie, on the right side.
Hey, Coach. After the first couple of days of camp, you spoke highly about the steps that Jalen Milroe took. Just how have you seen him maybe continue on that trajectory over the course of the preseason?
Sure, he's been consistent, and that's what I think one of the biggest qualities that you can have is consistent. Obviously you want it consistently at the highest level you possibly can, but you want to walk on the field, and this is for any player, but I think this is something that Jalen's done a better and better job of since we've gotten here, and it's what you're going to get when you get out there. Whether it's the attitude and the effort. Again, the play on the field. There really haven't been some crazy highs or crazy lows. I think he's just continuing to build, continuing to work with his guys, whether it's the offensive line and the communication and making sure he's on the same page with maybe protections, run checks or whatever it might be, the receiving core on timing of routes, a lot of communication. I think he continued to grow and evolve, as well. So the consistency, I really have an appreciation for what he's done. He's been really patient going way back to the spring on letting us, just put the offense in the progression that we're used to and the things that we see. You always see things that you want to get in, and these are the things that you did really well, and we get to those. But there's a progression with the teaching that's happened, I just appreciate the patience he's had from the very beginning when we got here on getting through all of it.
Shane, Big Money says that dude eats unflavored ice cream.
I was just thinking, if you were in an elevator and it got stuck, could you imagine with him and Billy Napier in there? That would be the worst, wouldn't it? Because I think they would fat shame a little. Like, I don't think they like fat people just naturally. They'd probably blame it all on me. But I am like, man, that would be a dry conversation between those two.
Right.
But I Mike, true talk here, man. This is the reason we were excited about him taking this job. Is what does he unlock Jalen? Because we know he's talented. We know he had flashes of it last year as a reason he was a Heisman candidate. But when he first took this job, this is exactly where we looked at. It's like, man, this quarterback room suffered. The last couple of seasons. Does it blossom now that DeBoer's down there?
Right, because I remember Tyler Buckner.
Yeah, started
a game, and I think he plays lacrosse now at Notre Dame.
Yeah, absolutely. He works at Nautica now.
Well, hey, Shade, a little bit of a injury update here for LSU. A little concerning. Receiver Chris Hilton, projected starter, questionable for the Southern Cal game. Again, losing one guy is not going to kill you, but in a game that could be high scoring with a new quarterback, new offensive coordinator, and new weapons abound. You're going to need a guy like Chris Hilton. You may not need him for this one, but you'll need him for SEC play. So something to continue to monitor for them LSU Tigers. But the narrative with LSU is losing all these elite first rounders to the NFL. But the way Brian Kelly tells it, Shane, just because we've lost some star power, this is a very, very, very experienced veteran team, and something people even like myself may be overlooking heading into the season for LSU.
Well, look, as a coach, you always know that front row is going to leave every year. And so you're always looking at, what's the complexion of this team going to be? Because, winning and losing is such a fine, fine line. And a lot of times it can be just, what the mindset of your team is. And what's the level of accountability and leadership? And I think we have that. I think we have, if we don't have, the kind of playmakers maybe that we had last year, we have great leadership. We have guys that have experience. We have guys that hold each other accountable. And they're going to play this game right to the very end. And I think we've all seen enough college football games that if you just keep playing and you keep doing your job, you can find a way to win games. And I think that's what this group's about. They've got some experience. They know what it's like to play and win games. They've won 10 games the last 2 years in a row and played in an SEC championship. So this is a team that knows what to do and how to do it. They haven't done it every single week, but they've been pretty darn close. We've had a couple of games where, we didn't bring our best, but by and large, this group understands what it takes to be successful, and I expect them to continue to do that because we have some experience now and we have some really good leadership.
So I know you're buying that, Shade. LSU's going to have the experience, you think, to come out here and start strong against Southern Cal, out on the road at South Carolina, UCLA at home. That's not the toughest schedule in the SEC, but it's a lot tougher than about half the teams.
Yeah, no, I do. And I think that's why, because we all look at the 4 or 5 names that are in the NFL now. But, it takes more than 22 players to make up a football team. It is a team, especially LSU, had a lot of rotation up front, and especially line of scrimmage and things like that. So I love this experience. I think it starts with the offensive line. That they've come out here and told you, man, we're going to be physical. We're gonna punch some dudes in the mouth, and it's just kind of bleeding throughout the whole football team. So yeah, I'm not worried about experience here because LSU's used to it. He said it right there at the beginning. You're always going to lose that front row. It's always going to happen. When you come to LSU, you're going to go to the NFL if you're good enough, and they always put talent in the league. So I'm not going to stress over last year's class because you could say that the year before.
Right. Well, you know what else I'm not stressing about, Shade, and that is old Manscaped. Look how good your head's looking with your Manscaped lawnmower 5.0 over there. They also sent me the beard hedger, so we really appreciate Manscaped being partnered with the show for a second year in a row, Shane. And with the promo code, that SEC, THAT over at Manscaped, you get 20% off your entire order and free shipping exclusively for our audience with that promo code, that SEC Shade. I know you love these blades. How's that feel first thing in the morning to have that shaved head?
It's so nice, man. And what's funny is they send us out a new set, and I'm still using the old one from 2 years ago, and it's just as like I bought it brand new. This isn't cheap stuff. This is high quality product. And if you want to, surprise your dad or brother or some male or female, I guess it doesn't have to be either one, but I don't judge. But if you want to surprise them with an awesome gift, this is it. Manscaped's fantastic product.
Yeah. So again, one more time, don't forget that promo code, that SEC over at Manscaped, 20% off your entire order and free shipping. But talking about being surprised.
I choose to be bald, Mike. Thank you, Manscaped.
you talk about surprising people. That's what Drake is worried about with old Murray State, Shane. Apparently, the staff's completely new. The players are completely new. They don't know what the hell to study, what to be prepared for. Here's Drake talking about the surprise that could be coming their way here in just a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge. There's really no way to watch Murray State film because, they've got brand new offense, defense, and special teams coordinators. They got 60 new players. So, you can watch their schemes from last year to try to see what their players are, but they're not going to be running the exact same stuff. So trying to figure out what your matchups are is almost impossible. So, again, it comes down to us executing our plan, our schemes at a really high level, and playing with great effort. Well, it's not just the coaching staff, it's the combination of coaching staff and new players. This is a new era in college football. You could have a replacement of coaches before, but you could have been able to go back and look at previous tape and say, okay, well, they're returning this guy, and this guy. I mean, their starting quarterback played at Dakota School of the Mines. He was a finalist for the Harlan Hill Award. I mean, we're watching huddle tape in order to figure out what he's done on the internet. Like it's a unique challenge. So, they've got several players who've transferred in and at key positions that we're trying to figure out, we can go back and watch their tape last year at their previous schools, but we don't know what that means they're going to be doing in this scheme. So it's kind of a challenge. I mean, their offensive coordinator hasn't. The last time he called plays was Jacksonville State 2 years ago. He was a high school coach the past 2 years, where he was the tight ends coach, wasn't the play caller. So we're going back and watching Jacksonville State tape. We're looking at, what coach has done at South Carolina when he was the tight ends coach, and trying to guess what they're going to do.
Shane, are you buying it that Mizzou's worried about this team, that they're favored by 50 points here?
Jeez, it's Murray State, for Christ's sake, Take a button off, let that gold chain hang, come out here and say, I don't care if there's 5 people or 10,000 people at this game. We're going to come out here and we're going to put Murray State away. You don't need film. That's the beautiful thing about this. It doesn't matter. They can come out here and wing T. You're going to be able to stop it. You know what I'm saying? You are Mizzou. You are going. You are a national championship contender. So I get it. This is like Nick Saban. He used to do this. He talked about, who was it? UTC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he'd go on for hours about how great Chattanooga's wide receiver, and then they beat him like 80 points.
Well, the problem, Shane, is everyone. Well, not everyone, but guys like us hyping up Mizzou. I think he's afraid of that rat poison getting into his locker room a little bit.
He should be. Honestly, as far as Mizzou can go, is going to be between the ears right here, Mike. And if they didn't put in that work in the offseason like some of these other teams did, it's going to show on the football field. So it's too late for that. Can't bring that back. But you can come out here one game at a time and just start putting these folks away. And I feel like they will, but they can't get sucked in, man. They're not there. They haven't won shit. They got to go out here and show everybody that they can win.
Yeah, and they don't have film, Shane. So it's a true obstacle.
Absolutely. Shit. Huddle tape. Could you imagine being the guy that's required? Like, your job is to go pull huddle videos, knowing damn well coach ain't even going to watch it. Just so he could say it in a press conference.
A true story, real quick, Shane. I interviewed at Huddle like 8 years ago, like a long time ago.
I thought you were talking Huddle House. Okay, you're talking about the website.
The website, yeah. They wanted someone to move to Nebraska. It's out of Nebraska. They wanted me to move to Nebraska, and the whole time I was trying to understand, well, what is it that you do? Because I know it's just like videos that are posted on this website that are football players, and they got mad because I didn't. Have you ever got a message that says TLDR? Which stands for too long didn't read?
No.
Well, I didn't know what that meant, and they were like, yeah, this job ain't for you. And I was like, that's what Huddle is, I guess. It's just, you can't, if you don't know something like that, you can't work for Huddle.
TLDR? They sent that to you?
No. They're just they wanted to know if I understood what that meant. And I said, no, I don't know what that means. And they said, too long didn't read.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, brother. I think it's an awesome app now that it's out there. I mean, because that was one of the problems is coaches didn't come to your town. These small towns, if they didn't have a handful of athletes to watch, they probably didn't see you.
Right.
So I think Huddle's a fantastic app. But I'm glad you're not working there. Wouldn't that be funny? You're at Huddle, I'm at Huddle House, and we just never started a podcast.
And I lived in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's like Lincoln, Nebraska or something like that.
We'd look the same,
Well, hey, speaking of freshmen, Shane, I think this is something going under the radar a little bit because some of these teams don't get recognized nationally. Mm-hmm. But South Carolina's got them a true freshman starting at left tackle, Shane. Josiah Thompson. He was a 5-star. He was the #1 prospect out of the state. Beamer's pretty fired up about their emerging star left tackle.
Being on a team where that was the case, and two, why is he so unique?
I said that on the radio show. He's got an oar by his name. He and Tree both are out there battling it out. He's really athletic. I go back to this too, Alan, like he was here for spring practice. We started a true freshman left tackle last season that didn't even get here until June. At least Josiah and Cam and Blake and those freshmen, they all got here in January, so they were able to go through spring practice, which has been huge for them. Josiah is very much like Lenoris in that he doesn't say a whole lot. He's just the same every day. And it may be like complete chaos going on in his head and all around him out there on the field, but he doesn't show it. He's got great tools. He's extremely athletic, and he's a gifted player. Comes from an awesome family, and excited for his future here at Carolina. You know, there was a reason he was recruited by every school in the country and turned down every school in the country to come here. As far as starting a true freshman offensive tackle, I can't remember. There maybe was, but I'm trying to run back through my head of all the places that I've been, and nobody comes to mind. But, you know, again, we've got a tree out there that's played some as well. Kason Henry's an older guy that can play both sides. Jatavius Shivers is doing a good job as an offensive tackle for us, and then we've got to be good about, you know, helping these offensive tackles as well with calls and whatnot.
It changed. So this is something that I think is still goes under the radar. Like I was saying, like Luther Burden, everyone gets excited about because he's a receiver. Could have gone anywhere. He went to Missouri and it was a turnaround, right? Yeah. A guy like Josiah Thompson stays home. I'm sure he's getting NIL, but hell, you get NIL going anywhere these days. You know what I mean? So I think 5 years ago, a player of this caliber doesn't go to South Carolina, if that makes sense. I think it helps them to stay closer to home. I think people get more fired up about donating and making sure players have the option to stay home when they may not have a couple years ago.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think it's important to have a little bit of that hometown loving too. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to these high schools over and over again. And South Carolina is a fantastic place to recruit from. So, I'm all for it, brother. I think local is good too. You got to fill the roster, man. And it's not just, like you said, it's not just the Luther Burdens out there, or it's not just the Spencer Rattlers. You know, it's sometimes it's the kid that's just right down the street that could be a key contributor for your program.
And basically the rest of his presser, Shane, was talking about how big of a challenge Old Dominion is and all the upsets they nearly pulled. They lost, I think he said 6 games by like 5 points or less. So he said he said they were 6 wins away from being an 11-win team last year.
Say your papa's Old Dominion, you know?
One other thing he said was kind of important. He just said Rocket Sanders not on a pitch count, which he probably should be for this game because hopefully we don't need him. But it's good that they can continue to reiterate that Rocket Sanders 100% because he's got to be a workhorse for this offense this season.
Well, and he also had a bunch of oars come out on the depth chart. I don't know if you saw that one floating around. One of my favorite. I'd love to give this kid a shout out, but one of my favorite had Luke Doty as an oar. And he says, by God, if I see Luke Doty out there at receiver.
Someone in the comments here, ZOV, he says, Beamer needs Manscaped with that horrible haircut. Fix it, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, if you go like so long without it, you kind of have that. Yeah, that kind of surprised me. A head coach is there, you know?
Hey, Shay, no clip here, but, I'm a little... I was already on the fence, you know what? But Mississippi State, tough news out of Starkville, Shane. Their number 1 receiver, Kelly Akari, the transfer from UTEP, he's out. And they're not giving an update how long. Defensive back, Corey Ellington, their best defensive back, he's out. Their running back, who's projected to start, Jeffrey Pittman, not currently with the team.
Wow.
Leading returning rusher last year. And they're not saying he's done or anything like that, but they're not saying he will be back. So, again, you need him against Eastern Kentucky? No, but
maybe.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah, quite frankly, maybe. And this is just, again, I'm not trying to pile on, but this is like the one team that can't be losing their number 1 receiver, number 1 running back, and number 1 defensive back.
Yeah, it's not. They don't have the depth. You know, these are guys that you expect to contribute throughout the entire season. So, yeah, no, that's definitely a big hit, man.
Yeah. So just again, Eastern Kentucky is not going to be an issue, but we're going to need a lot of these guys back for Arizona, and maybe that's what it is, Shane. Week 2, Arizona State. That's such a big game. They're saying, well, hell, I got to risk these guys for Eastern Kentucky. We want them fully healthy for Arizona State. So I hope that's what it is. But if they're not there for Arizona State, I think we got real problems.
Jeez Louise, man. Yeah, absolutely.
And last team here, Shane, let's kick it down to Ole Miss. We got an update from Kiffin's podium.
Look at all them bottles.
Coke Zero, water. I mean, and he did not address it, Shane. I'm sure Coke gave him a stern warning down here, but I just thought that was great.
Gave him a little Nick Saban talk too, you know?
Right. And if you missed it, Shane, so they hired his brother, Chris Kiffin.
Yeah.
A long time. He's been at Ole Miss. He's been in the NFL. He's been all over the place, Shane. He's got himself a little mini Alabama down there with all these staff and all this. And Lane Kiffin, he's asked about it. That's what he says, man. He says this is Alabama 2.0 here.
Kind of feel about this staff in terms of the experience they bring to these players?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to have so many people available to them that have, one's been an NFL head coach. And, I talked with Chris, another been in the NFL for a long time. And so I really like that we have so many resources for them from a football knowledge standpoint, from a life situation standpoint. These kids go through a lot, and so the more people you can have around that have either done it themselves as players or now as coaches, walk kids through different situations is of extreme value. So I'm appreciative of Keith for allowing us to be able to bring all these guys together and have the spots for them. And it's very Alabama model-ish, and being there was a lot to that. Everybody kind of, I think, looked at it as like, well, the coaches went there and kind of rehabbed and got jobs out of there. And I don't know if there's enough, thought of how much that helped the players, having all those coaches there. That's the way I look at it now.
And that last point, I think, is so critical, Shane, because they have essentially removed all restrictions when it comes to these analysts and what they're allowed. I mean, hell, they're allowed to coach the players. I think they're even allowed to recruit now. I don't know if they actually go on the road and recruit, but that is not something they were supposed to do. We know people like Alabama, they were cheating and doing it anyway. But now there's no rules on it. So again, if you're adding a Chris Kiffin, who's got a wealth of experience, I mean, if you need any more evidence that Ole Miss is going all in, they are all in this year.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man. They got to. And you're seeing other teams do it too. And that's what I like about it is, I'm not saying that it's getting harder and harder for these coaches in the SEC, but I think it is. I think it's getting tougher for college football because it is a nonstop machine. It's not something you can just turn off a couple of, during the summer or something like that. It's 24/7. You got to have. You see him. He's got two phones. I'm assuming that was his. You know what I'm saying? And so it helps to have a little bit of help out there to kind of delegate some of this work so it's not so overwhelming.
Right. Yeah. That's why they got all these army of people. You know what, Shane?
Yeah.
So one guy can handle breaking down tape. One guy can handle recruiting. One guy. They even have guys that completely manage the roster, GMs now. You know what I mean? So it's anything to take something off these coaches' shoulders, and that's why Lane Kiffin stays at Ole Miss because I want A, B, C, D all the way to Z now.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, I'm going to go to Auburn. I'm going to go to he would have went to Alabama if he could have, but he never got that offer. But you know what I mean? Like Ole Miss was giving him whatever, blank check, get whatever you need, hire your brother, hire your mother, hire whoever you need to turn us into a winner. And that's just, if I'm an Ole Miss fan, I'm over the moon on just what they're giving my head coach right now.
TLDR, man. I wonder if there's a coach that does all these acronyms. I always ask my daughter, I'm like, what does this mean? I remember LOL was like, that was, for the longest time, I always thought that was laugh out loud.
Right?
No, wait, no, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Loads of laughs. I don't know. I just think it was something else, but now they've got all these other ones. And my daughter, she helps me out with the acronyms.
So no, you're saying she would get hired by Huddle immediately?
Yeah, she would know them all. She would know them all by heart. Yeah, I think they're inventing. I still think they're making them up. They're still doing these other things, and they use words that aren't even words. Like she said "cap" the other day, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And she goes, "Lie." I'm like, "Why didn't you just say lie? It's the same thing. It's one syllable. Cap, lie. I mean, what's the point of saying cap when you could have said lie?" So I'm like my mom now. Mom and dad, they were just I could see where they were coming from. We said cool and rad. We're like, now they got these words they're just making up.
Well, thanks for making us look so old.
We're old, man.
Shane. As we close this one out, you got anything else before we hop off the line?
No, man, we're almost there. Huh? I feel the audio listeners listen to us till Wednesday. That means tomorrow there's SEC football on our TV. So, no, I am pumped up. I'm ready to rock and roll. Thanks for all the family for showing up tonight and all the love online. Mike puts out these shows and these topics and things like that, and you guys retweet. You guys share with your friends and family. It really does help us out. So, I just thank you all. Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, and don't forget, so tomorrow, same as always, Shane and I will be doing a show, but also a bonus show. Steven is going to be giving out his picks for week 1 in the SEC. So we're going double here with the season right around the corner. We're going to be doing that all year long.
So that's Wednesday, double Wednesday.
Today's Tuesday, Shane. So tomorrow is Wednesday.
Yeah. So is that we got to come up with an acronym for that, So double DW tomorrow, double header.
We're gonna have to work on that one.
Yeah.
But so that's gonna do it. That's all I got, Shane. Before you age us even more, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols.